In 2022, Nike released this, the Nike Zegama trail shoe, and although it was very popular, it was far from perfect. Now skip forward to 2024 and we've got this, the Nike Zegama 2. And I've owned this trainer now for about 4 months and I've done about 50 kilometers in it on the trails, and now it's time to do a review. So let's get stuck in. Okay, so as is usual on the shoe reviews on my channel, let's get into the basics first. So I got the Nike Zegama 2 trail shoes directly from the Nike website, paid for them with my own money, and they cost me £164.99 in Great British pounds. Got me in a UK size 10, which is a US size 11, and a European size 45. And in that particular size, they come in weighing at 338 grams, which is pretty much exactly the same as what the original Nike Zegama also weighed. In terms of the fit, they fit true to size. I'd recommend going true to size if you're considering buying these trail shoes. The stack height at the back is 36mm, 32 at the front, so we've got a 4mm drop in these trail shoes, and 4mm also for the lug depth on the bottom and the grip of these trail shoes. Nike have made quite a few serious upgrades to the original Nike Zegama with the Zegama 2, and for the most part they're very positive, so we're going to get into some of those details. I've done about 50 kilometers in these trail shoes so far, and I've owned them, as I say, for about 4 months, so I'm going to share with you my thoughts and my experiences. We'll get into the pros, we'll get into some cons that still exist for these, but before we do that, let's look at these in action. I took them for a recent trail run up in the Surrey Hills at a place called Leith Hill. So let's get into that, let's have a look at them, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the pros, then the cons, and we'll give a few verdicts about what we think about this, the Nike Zegama 2. Let's go. Okay, so let's start with the good, and the most impressive feature of all is this, the outsole, the upgrade to the Vibram grip on these trail shoes. Compared to the original version of the Nike Zegama, where we didn't have the Vibram grip, it is like night and day. I mean, these original versions were comfortable and were pretty good as long as you were using them in the summer months and you weren't going or encountering too many muddy trails or certainly wet conditions. As soon as you hit the mud and the wet conditions, then these things pretty much fell apart. They were almost rendered useless in the winter months, in my opinion, here in the UK. But the upgrade to this and the outsole is fantastic. It is so much better than the original version, and now we've got an outsole that is going to grip and give you that traction that you need for your trail runs, and pretty much it doesn't matter what conditions you encounter with these, it's going to hold up well. In terms of other things that Nike have changed or addressed, we've now got a slightly longer tongue, not an enormous difference, you know, only a few millimeters, but they've also increased the padding around the tongue, which once you've got these on, you can feel that extra padding. They just feel a bit more comfortable. They've also upgraded the padding and structure around the heel as well. So the original versions were not too bad, to be honest. They felt pretty secure and comfortable as well, but you can definitely tell once you've got these on that these just feel a bit more secure around the ankle. And of course the ZoomX foam is so comfortable. It's almost hard to believe how comfortable these trail shoes are, and you don't really feel any of the bumps or lumps that you encounter on your trail runs. So in terms of upgrades that Nike have made, pretty substantial upgrades. You've now got an incredibly comfortable trail shoe that has addressed the main concern on the original version, which was the outsole. And these are well suited not only to trail runs, but they're actually pretty comfortable to run on the road as well. So as a hybrid trail shoe / road shoe, these would be fine. So if you're going on a run where you're going to be part on road and part on trails, then these would be a fantastic choice for you. and they're also pretty well suited to hiking as well. So if you're going out on hikes, you know, the structure through these and the grip just makes these a very comfortable choice for that as well. So pretty versatile, really happy with the upgrades that Nike have made. So well done, a thumbs up from me in terms of the upgrades that Nike have addressed. But they're still not perfect, right? So let's get into some of the things that I think still could be improved. Some of the things have frustrated me, and we'll end with the verdict, and I'll give you any recommendations that I can about whether you should buy this trail shoe. So on the flip side, the bad. So the first point in terms of bad is the price. I mean, at £164.99 for a trail shoe, it's still very expensive, and there is no carbon plate in this either. So a non-carbon plated trail shoe, £164.99 is very expensive. And I think that there are other options out there in terms of trail shoe choice for probably cheaper than this, that are, from a performance perspective, going to give you at least a good performance, if not better than these. So the price is very expensive for what you're getting. Another frustration of mine is the laces. Now, the original laces, you had plenty of, I mean, I need to pull them out like that much further. I don't know if you can see that, but the original laces seem to be about 6, 7, 8 centimeters longer than these. And the problem now, and I don't understand why Nike have done it, to be honest, is that they've shortened the laces up so that it's now very difficult to do a runner's knot if you've got any kind of slippage in these. So Nike, what are you doing? Why have you reduced the size of these laces? Other than that, you can get a decent tie down in these laces. I've not found that they came apart at any stage, and I don't get any heel rub or heel movement in these. So the you know, if there is any need to do a heel lock though, if you're somebody that's got a little bit of movement in your heel here and you want to do a runner's knot in these, it's going to be difficult because the laces are just not long enough. Another frustration, I mean, I know that there are other colorways that you can get in other parts of the world, and I've seen a few other variants of colors in terms of what you can get in the US especially, but Nike seem to release most of their recent trail shoes here in the UK in a white colorway or a variant of white colorway, which is not exactly an ideal color for trail shoes, right? And you know, these are still looking in pretty good condition because we're in the summer months here in the UK, but as soon as I start wearing these, as soon as the conditions change back to being wet here in the UK, then I think that these are going to get very, very dirty, and it's going to be very hard to keep them clean. Another addition that they've made, which I'm not really too sure why, hopefully you can see this, but the toe cap at the front that protects you from any kind of stray sticks or anything hurting your toe in the toe box, they've reduced compared to the original Zegamas, and I really don't know why they've done that, because you know, I'm really not sure why they would have done that, because you know, all that they've done is they've made it more possible for things like sticks or branches to, you know, hit you in the toe box, which would potentially really quite hurt. So not sure why Nike have done that. I mean, I've not encountered any issues or problems with it, but it's certainly a change that I'm not really sure that they needed to make in terms of going from the original to this version. Okay, so I'm interrupting my own review here because I've just watched the video back and realised that I've missed out one of the most important considerations and potential cons for this Nike Zegama 2 trail shoe, and that is the weight. At 338 grams, this is a heavy trail shoe, and Nike market this trail shoe as a very comfortable ride for anything up to ultra marathon plus. But if you're doing very, very long runs in this trail shoe and it's that heavy at 338 grams, everybody has a tendency when they get tired for their form to start to fall apart, and invariably what happens is people start to drag their feet a little bit. And if and when that happens, what will happen is this amazing grip that I talked about earlier, this Vibram grip that they've upgraded since the original Zegamas, becomes then a potential hazard. So the most impressive addition that they've made to the Nike Zegama 2 then becomes a potential risk, because as soon as this grip hits anything on the trails, it grips to it, it grips to it, and it grips to it hard. So if your form is starting to fall apart and these trail shoes are at 338 grams, what will happen is you'll start to drag your feet a little bit, and you'll end up potentially tripping up, because these will hit, you know, branches or anything that is existing on the trail that you're running on, And if your form is starting to fall apart and you're starting to drag your feet a little bit, and at 338 grams, I think that there is a tendency for this trail shoe, especially at long distances, to become a bit of a hazard because that grip is so amazing. So sorry that I've just interrupted myself, but I wanted to make sure that I talked a little bit about that, because I think that that is one of the most important considerations. Here is the weight of this trail shoe. So, still not perfect in terms of, what you're getting from a trail shoe, but definitely some significant upgrades from the original version. So would I recommend these? I think, compared to the original, if you had the original and you're liking the feel of the Nike Zegamas, then definitely I would recommend upgrading to the 2, because the differences are substantial, and this outsole is, as I mentioned, is just night and day compared to the original version. If you're not someone that's wedded to Nike and the brand of Nike, then I would probably find it hard to recommend because of the price being so expensive. These are fantastic, but they're expensive for what you get, and I would suggest that there are other alternatives out there that are going to be pretty much the same, if not less in price, and the performance is going to be just as good. And I think that there's other variants that you can get that are carbon plated, which also come in at about the same price. So you already probably know that there is the Ultrafly from Nike, which is also a carbon plated trail shoe, but that is much more expensive. Currently sits at 225 Great British pounds, I believe. So much more expensive than these. So fantastic upgrades, fantastic new version of the original Zegama. So the number 2 is way, way better than that, but I'd probably find it hard to recommend these if you're not wedded to the Nike brand. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. If you have found it helpful, then hit the subscribe button and give the video a like, and see you on the next video.